Hey everybody. So in this video today, what we're going to do is go over what transpired today. Obviously we're going to go over AMC and what's going on even after hours because of what happened today. There's a lot to really cover there, and there's a lot to cover with some of these other names. I'm just going to start here. I don't think that these moves up are completely done. I think that some of these others are going to set up to go by looking at their volume profiles. I have two at the end of this video I'm going to go over with you that people really didn't ask a lot of questions about today, but they're important. But I want to get through what everybody's asking about first, and then we'll go from there. So as always, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. We do some live shows, especially in the morning, and the best way for you to be notified of those is to subscribe and click all notifications, because I'm not good about putting links out. It's just, I'm just not good at it yet. So that's pretty much it. And let's just jump right into it. So Airbnb. Look, this has this huge downtrend that's there. And today is not what you want to see. And it's one of the reasons why I want to cover it. I have VWAP up here. We're going to get rid of that because it's not really relevant. And I'm going to close this so that we can kind of talk about what's going on here. Okay. This is a classic reversal pattern for those people that don't know. And it's a bearish engulfing. And I want you to understand what this means. It means that the entire body of this bar, okay, some people will use the high and the low, and you can use the high and the low here, has completely encapsulated this bar. Okay, meaning all this buying has been encapsulated here, and it has. So what does this mean? It usually means you're going lower. So if I was in this and I took out a lower low, I wouldn't even wait for the 21-day. I'd be gone. I'd be out of that trade. You can always buy it back, but you have this resistance up here, and you're clearly not going to get there. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to review this one very fast because that's really all there is to this. This is not a buy. You can actually see where you could even, see how you've hit here twice and stopped. So, we're all waiting for the breakout. It did not happen. It's time to go. If you take out that lower low, and you can always come back in the trade. So AMC, let's get rid of this volume profile, but that volume profile is going to come back because it's important. That volume profile looks like the other two that I want to go over today. So the AMC, I had a great day with it. I hope everybody had fun. Look, I was on both sides of this thing, but the real money was made on the long side today, and it was being active. And the one thing that I stated about this is you have to be in a position that you're going to be willing to knock this thing around. And that's exactly what you had to do today. So let's get rid of this after hours trade so you can see that you have an inside bar here. You're completely in this bar here today. But when you got down to here, and I'll walk through the trade, that it was the perfect place to buy it because you went to the open. You went to the open where you knew you had activity, right? And you stopped right there. I mean, it was absolutely perfect. And if you drill into it, might as well do it now so you can see it. So, and I put this on Twitter for those that don't follow on Twitter. The yellow lines are support and resistance lines. The white lines are the Fibonacci's based upon the move on the daily. And let's get rid of this. I don't want to get rid of that text. I want to get rid of this. So what I was showing here, someone was saying, I said you're going to bounce. And people were asking, why did I say that? And that was down here. But before that, I said, we're going to roll. And people were like, well, how do you know that we're going to roll? Or why do you think that we could roll? Is I think how I phrased it, because nobody knows until it happens. So this is simple. Let's get rid of these indicators. So this was the open, right? And you gap down and then you fill the gap. You kind of fill the gap. You don't get all the way to the top of the gap, do you? Not at first. You do later in the day, right? Let's throw that up there for now so people can remember that line too. So then you run up and then you collapse and then you break this fib level. And I just want to show you what happens. As soon as you broke this fib level, what happened? You just had massive selling down, right? Started forming this wedge to go high, rising wedge. Yes, they're great to trade, but we know how they end, right? They don't end well. So what transpired here was, if you look very closely, and that's where this arrow is pointing, we got right to the top of the fib level, and then we have an evening star board, right there. Okay. And that was it. And then I broke this. I'm like, okay, it's time to get out of this. And that's why I said it's go time. We're either going to break through or we're not. So that's how I set that trade up, just so you could see it. And that was a great spot to actually be short it, because you could just use the top of the wick. You know, it's $1 on a stock that's moving at an incredible pace. So to have like to find a spot where you can have $1, $1.50 of risk with slippage. And we all know trading this, that there's slippage in these names. People that are saying it isn't, silly. So I want to show this so you can understand this trade. So I, on Twitter, and you can go through the Twitter feed, bought this down here. And you're looking at this and going like, why in the world? Like if you're looking at this side of the chart, you're saying, why in the world did you buy it there? And again, you know, this is not me saying it. You can go look at the timestamps for those that, want some confirmation. And I don't blame you if you want confirmation. You want to make sure that I actually know what the hell I'm talking about. It's fine. So, all right, let's go here. Let's go see here. All right. So you see this line? See how you ran this line the whole way down and then you stopped? See how you have this bar that picked up here? Now watch when you use this and you overlay this with RSI. And for those people that have that RSI video or have watched that RSI video, you're going to go, huh? So I'll tag that RSI video at the end of this one so people can watch it if they want to. But here. Look at what happens here, right? You hit here. See that low? Yep. Then you see the next low. See how we take out a low here, right? And this goes higher. That's all you needed to see was that little line. That's all you needed to see. Let me just draw that real quick. See how that goes up there? And I can actually make that bigger so you can zone in there and really take a look at it, because it's important for you to understand this concept. So basically, I had the stock making a new low on this red bar, but what was happening? I have an upward trend. I'm like, oh, okay, this is an easy trade. Buy it here, give myself like $1, $1.50, depending upon what you want to do, and put the trade on. And then you can see how the trade did. The very first thing I did, again, I was in and out trading this today. I was not trying to build a position with, the apes or whatever they're calling themselves this week. But as soon as I got to this fib level, I'm like, okay, well, we rejected once. Well, that's not good. Okay, well, we rejected again. Okay, I'm out. I have no idea that this is going to happen. If I knew that this was going to happen, I'd stay in the trade. I don't know that this is going to happen. What I know is that I hit this fib level twice and I rejected. That's all you know. You don't have the other side to give you data. Now, when I broke out here, I'm like, oh man. Then of course you're annoyed that you only made $5, $6, but you have to follow your process. So the next trade I did, and again, you can follow them here, was this bar. As soon as we broke out here, see how you are bouncing and this fib level, see how it becomes resistance? See how it becomes support, right? These levels flip. Fib levels flip. Support levels flip. They become support and resistance lines. It's important to note that. So what happens? We break out here. And as soon as we did this, I jumped in. I mean, I didn't know what the news was. And then I found out later they did a placement. And I'm going to leave the volume up so you can see one of the indicators that I used. And then we'll shrink this back down so that we can get rid of it. And we're just going to use this indicator right here. And you can see what we're using, right? Okay. So as soon as we use this, what happens? We go to here. And then as soon as we hit that fib level, guess what? And I reject. And look what I reject on. I reject on an evening star pattern. That's enough. I wait and see if you're going to take out that lower low. We do. By the time we were done, I think I made 6.5 points. So it's just constantly taking money out. And this trade took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. Okay. One that I thought was going to go and then just didn't go. And then I got stopped out and lost on, just so we're clear. They always all don't work. See how you pop over this, right? I thought for sure, and let's follow this line down. I thought for sure if we took out the high here, right, that was it. We were going to go. And I was wrong. And basically what they did was the market makers ran this bar up, right, and took all the buy stop orders that were up here and then just crushed us. Now, I'm not in for this nightmare, and I didn't short. But this was exactly where you could have shorted. It was perfect. And I was just on the wrong side of that one. Overall, I'm happy with the way the day went for me with this one. And you could see this channel, but it's important to understand that this, when your lines are drawn properly, look how they respect it. It's telling you a story all day long, right? I mean, that's what it's doing. And you can see how you could use this RSI associated with that by finding little divergences in it, right? Or even when it takes this out, you're going, oh, well, maybe it's going to go lower because this is there, and then it does go lower. So there's ways to use it, but that's how I did the trades in AMC that I was asked about today. So let's just keep rocking and rolling here and go to the next one. And let's get rid of this RSI because this is just going to be way too much stuff. So we're going to have to just throw one of these on. Click on this, go properties, and go from here. Okay, so, and let's close this up. All right, so this is pretty textbook stuff, right? Let's get rid of this line for a moment. So you can see exactly what happened here. We opened above, right, resistance. They ran us up to the fib level, and then they just crashed it back down. I mean, it's not that hard to understand. And where'd they land us? Right on the fib level. So I'm not sure that this is over yet. I find it interesting that you have this much volume and that your buying's here and that you didn't take out a lower low. I find that very interesting. So this trade might not be over. You might get a couple days of these bouncing around before they break out again. And I feel that way about AMC, to be honest. The fact that AMC didn't crater today, the fact that somebody placed $500 million worth of stock at 50 and 50 and change, and I can guarantee you they didn't do it for a day trade like they did the other trade. I guarantee you there are caveats associated with it. So I am sure that someone's going to defend this with puts or whatever. I would be surprised to really see this collapse. Just FYI, I don't think it's going to do that. I think you're going to bounce around in ranges and give us opportunity to buy. So let's just keep going through them. So BBB, what do you do now? You need to see what happens tomorrow and see if you stay in this trading range and what exactly transpires. That's really what you need to see. Right now, I don't think there's anything to do with it. So just sit, watch, and wait. But this bar is not telling you anything more. I don't think you're going to take out this 13 tomorrow. I think you would have already. I think you already would have been back down here, and you're not. So let's see how that plays out tomorrow. COUR. I was asked about this one today, and I figured let's run through it real quick. It's a name that we haven't really talked about for a while, is it? So, here was our downward trend line. Here was our break bar, right, when we broke down, and then what happened. And then you can see how this played out. And it didn't play out great, right? I think you have to take a look at this and truly understand what's going on here. Like you have a position that's just not going anywhere. But there is something going on, so I wanted to just show it for the person that asked me about it. And we'll be very quick with it. See how this is getting tighter and tighter in here? And you're getting close to this? Flip this 40.79. And if this is one that you want to be in for some reason, like if there's a fundamental reason behind it that I'm just not aware of, then that's the spot, right? But you can see that if you even look at what's going on here, and I'm just throwing this in so you can see it. So the yellow is the 21 and the green is the 8. And this is VWAP, volume weighted average price, which I do use. And I'm just throwing it in here because it is showing you that it's curling and you're finally above the volume average price of the stock, which you have not been since you've had a VWAP, right? It's not a bad place to be to tell you that it's going higher. I mean, you can even, I'm not going to get all into this, but you can even use these clouds and try to figure it out. But, we're going to wait on that because I don't want to throw too much stuff at everybody at first and confuse them. Let's just stick with price reading. So I just think that when you look at this, this is interesting. And so if you're really interested in it, that's your level. Other than that, just sit, watch, and wait. There's much better opportunities out there. So let's get rid of the VWAP. Okay, and then let's close this. So you're just bumping your head over and over. CRCT, you're just bumping your head over and over in this section, aren't you? Got to get through this, 38.31. When you get through 38.31, you could have a big mover here. You could have a really big mover here. So just consider that. Crowd had earnings tonight. And just a caveat, as I walk through this one, I bought Crowd after hours on the earnings. I'm comfortable with it. I'll see how it opens tomorrow. I'm actually down in the trade from where it is right now, but I'm not really sweating it at all. I mean, they just crushed. I'll see how the conference call goes and go from there. You can see how we got right to this 225 level, and that was major resistance. And now we're just holding here. I don't believe for a moment we're going to roll down. I firmly believe you're going to break out of this. This is the first attempt. As I always say, first attempts usually don't work. It's usually the second attempt that works. So how do you play this now? I was a little bit aggressive because I wanted to have a position in it. So I bought a decent amount of it after hours. You really have to wait for the 225 line, and some people could wait for this. If you're lucky, it'll come in tomorrow, right? And get down to this 20, the 21 and the 50 if we crater for some reason. And that's really where you would want to buy it. You definitely don't want to buy it where I just bought it, unless you're like willing to take a little more risk. And I'm, from people that follow me on Twitter, just FYI, like if you try to do the trades that I do, it's not going to work because I move very fast. Like I'm in and out pretty fast if something doesn't work. So by the time that someone could be reading that, I could already be out of the trade. So it's very important that you do your own homework and have your own system and process. I'm just trying to get people to think a little bit differently. So, but looking at this, if it doesn't do what I want it to do, I'll just get out. But I do feel that this is setting up to take out this 250 level. And it's something I think you should consider. So DDD, see how you're wedged in here, right? Nothing's changed. Everything's falling apart with a lot of these names today. Lots of volatility, everything. What's DDD doing? Nothing. We're in this at 26.5 from the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, there is a link in the bio and in the description section. Please click it. It comes out 3 times a week, and we're going to be making some changes to it. So if you were thinking of getting it and didn't, get it, because once the changes are made, the people that are in are going to be locked in and the others are not. It's just getting to the point where I think there's like 4,000 people in there, and it's going to be too many people for me to keep showing, small to medium term trades that I'm doing without creating an issue. As far as getting rid of the edge. So what do you do with this here? DDD. See how this comes across? $29, hits here, tries, can't go, comes here. Doesn't break that 8-day though, does it? Sits right on it. Doesn't even touch it this time. So I think we're fine here. I don't think there's any reason to do anything. So Ford did what we thought it would do. And, I've got a bunch of lines on this chart. I thought this would be a slow mover. I certainly didn't expect to see this. But you had a nice breakout out of this 1362 level, and it's just going to keep on going. The Ford F-150 is going to be the EV truck. I mean, it's becoming extremely clear. I know people are looking at these other companies, these other EV companies, but it is becoming increasingly clear to everybody that everyone's going to want this Ford F-150 truck. There are people that are canceling their orders with other pickup truck manufacturers to put a deposit on this truck. Also because the cost is $20,000 cheaper. They don't care about the extra 50 miles it can go. They can plug in at work. And I just think that they're going to be the leader in at least in the pickup truck space. There's really very little question about it. They have the ability to do the production. A lot of people are not going to be able to even come close to matching production of one of the big three. It's just not even feasible. So I think you're going to see this. And I've been talking about this, that you're going to break out of this level. And that's exactly what you did. You broke out of this level. I would expect this to continue to move. I would expect this to break out of here and continue to run. Let's get into this. So this is the weekly from here. Right? Just to put this in perspective, why everyone's looking at all these other EV manufacturers. Okay. We're up in 2 weeks. We're up 36% on Ford. Let me just reduce the strike of this. It's pretty aggressive. So in 2 weeks, that's what you're up. Okay. In Ford. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head, right? Now let's go and look at this. And this is what I've been pointing out to everybody. You're in a 21-year downtrend that you've broken. Everything's turning and everything's pointing up. And look at the volume that's coming in. And look at how this line is curling up, right? Like this is setting up for a major move. And your next level, you get through 18 if you get through this 18 level, I mean, just look at this, right? Just come all the way down here with it so you can see where it goes to, okay? This is your 18 level. You get through this 18 level, you're going back up here. You're going to $25. So this could be a very large mover. It's just people think it's slow, so they're not playing with it. But I like the name. So let's go to Fubo, and let's look at this on the daily. So this was one that we have in the newsletter, 26.25. I said, do not chase. We did it yesterday. It was just a live call on Twitter. And what do we do now with it? Well, let's get into this and really drill into what's going on. Okay. And let's get rid of these, and let's get rid of the indicators for a moment. So, okay. So see how we broke down here, and then you started breaking out these higher highs, right? And I'll move this one because that's not as relevant right now. It'll just be easier. You see how you broke this? You were right along this line the whole time. You had issue, right? Couldn't get above it. All these wicks, right? Takes you right to here. Earnings comes right to here. What happens? So that's what I was looking at. And this breakout bar, that was it. When you get above the top of this red breakdown bar, so here's your H, right? And now you're above the top of that. That's a signal. Now, if you throw in your indicators with it, okay, and you see your 21 is going to cross your 50 to the upside, the 8 is crossing the 200. Like, these are not all of a sudden going to turn around and go, oh, I want to go back down. They're going to continue to push up. As they push up, the amount of buying that comes in, unless news hits, right, the amount of buying that comes in is going to sustain these now. So this is going to continue to move, okay? And, I don't want to throw too much at people, but I do want to show you one thing. So, like, this is a cloud, and I'm going to butcher the name of it, but it's like an Ichimo cloud. And essentially, my pronunciation skills are awful, but essentially what I'm getting at with this cloud is like, it calculates moving averages a little bit differently. The important thing about this is when you're coming down, and this is how you use it. Now, I will do a video on it, but when you're coming down and you pop into this cloud, right? And I know a lot of people that use it don't use it this way, and that's okay. They can use it however they want. I use it how it works for me. Once you get over this green line and you're in this, the trend of this to me changes. Theoretically, they say that this is now trendless, that it's in here. I don't feel that way. I feel that once you're in there, you are starting to trend upwards. When you break out of it, you're starting to really get some momentum behind you. And so that's why if people use these, and essentially what they'll do is they'll avoid it, right? They'll avoid the stock the entire time until you're in the cloud. Okay, so that's one thing that I was looking at in regards to it. I try not to throw too much stuff out there to confuse, but when you have a stock that comes down like this, right, and then you're trying to figure out, well, is it really going to go this time? And you've been burnt like 20 times by other stocks, which it's happened to everybody, right? Just using something as simplistic as this going, I'm not touching this thing till it's in that damn cloud. Right? Something as simplistic as that can save you a heck of a lot of money. Okay. And then if you take this and you overlay it with something like RSI, right? And I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but I try to give like some lessons on how people actually trade. And you look at this with the RSI and go, wow, did RSI give me a sign sooner? RSI is going to always give you a sign sooner. And I'll say it again, RSI will always give you a sign sooner. What RSI is not going to do is tell you when it's going to start to move, right? So it gave you a sign here when it broke this trend line, but it didn't tell you when it was going to start to move. What's telling you when it's starting to move? As soon as I'm in this cloud, what started to happen? I started to get positive momentum, right? So this may tell you that you've bottomed and you may use this as a trigger, you may not. But when you hop back in here, and if you overlay both of them, it tells you what you're in and what's going on. I like this trade a lot, and I think that this trade could really work. So I would definitely continue to have this on your radar and keep it on your list. And hopefully I didn't confuse everybody with throwing a new indicator in that you're probably not used to seeing and going from there. So let's just keep rocking and rolling here. LEDS, I was asked about it. I'm not going to worry about the little British guy right now that just keeps talking. That's IB, one of my trading platforms. So you see how you can't get above this level? Like you got to watch this. Like this is really dangerous to trade. When you have wicks like this is just price rejection after price rejection. You can't chase this. Do not chase this. So to me, I would leave this alone. I would just simply leave it alone. I would not go near this unless you have a really strong fundamental reason for it. So, but I wanted to show that so people understand that when you see large wicks like this and you're coming down halfway here, that is not a bullish signal. Okay. That is somebody can't wait for it to get up here and dump it. So you need to see that stuff clear out and then you can kind of go from there. I'm just telling you, like these never end well, in my opinion. Mac could have had a bad day today. Could have had a really bad day today. It didn't, right? You're not even halfway through the bar of the full body bar, right? You're not even halfway there. So I wouldn't even be remotely concerned about this. Not even a little bit. So just, it is what it is and stay with it. You basically have an inside day on your bar, very similar to AMC. Isn't that interesting how all these stocks, I got to get rid of this post data. Isn't that interesting how all these stocks, when you really look at them, right? Like they really didn't they really didn't get destroyed today. They just kind of came in, right? Okay, so let's just keep going. So, but Mac, there's nothing to do there. Just stay with it. MGM, I just wanted to point out that the person that was asking about it, that you are rolling. As you got up here, you had a little wedge and you decided to go the other way with it. I can get rid of these indicators. And I just wanted to point this out because I do understand why you're in this, but you have a problem now. Not a big one, a little one. Okay. You got to get over this. You got to get over this line and push. That's what you need to do. All right. Where you're at right now is not going to work. It's just not going to happen. So you got to be careful with that line. You really have to be careful with this right here. Nokia, higher high, and then I just stopped. I mean, these things did not fall out of bed this morning. I don't know how many times I can say it. I don't think that these moves are over. I think you're going to have a lot of swings in these. I think people that sold today when things sold down are going to regret it tomorrow or next week. It's just my opinion. It's just a sense that I'm getting. And the way they're trying to manipulate them tonight after hours, it's very telling to me after doing this for over 20 years. So Nokia, there's nothing to do. I mapped out the trade. I like the trade. If it takes out this bar, get out. If it takes out this low, 5.25, what's the low of this bar exactly? You take out 5.25, you take 5.15, just get out. Other than that, this can very well be setting up for here. It could absolutely happen. Again, something like that. Path, we walked through it and said you were in a megaphone pattern. You've broken out of the megaphone and this is telling you where it's going. This is going down. Very clearly, this is going down and there's no other way to say it. So this is not something that you should be rushing into. This is something that you should be avoiding. If you are in this, the first thing you should do tomorrow is sell it. I don't think I can be any clearer. You opened at the high, you closed at the low, right? It doesn't get any more bearish. I can't be any clearer. It does not get any more bearish than that. So let's just keep going. PLBY. I like this. I will say that you are rejecting the 21 day. I wish you weren't, but you are. I looked at buying this today and I didn't. Breaking above this little wick right here, I could see why people were interested and you could see where you closed. You closed perfectly. I'm not saying this move is over, but I'm still in this trading range. So what I would be looking for is, maybe we can draw this a little bit tighter, just a little bit. Trying to get over there and try to get over this 50 level. Other than that, you really need to watch this. I don't think these moves are over. I really don't think NFTs are over, but you just need to watch this. So I'm not seeing signs that are telling me it's all clear. I know a bunch of people out there, I know a bunch of people out there are saying that. I don't feel that way. So I've been talking about this. I don't know if I have it in the newsletter. We talked about this Tuesday. The 50s crossed to the upside. Long term, this is significant. We can have pullbacks. The stocks rejected the one day. It's why I said to get out. But what you're seeing here, just FYI, let's get into this, right? I'm really drill into this because it's very important, okay? So we don't need the 8. We can get rid of the 8. But the 8's telling you that, you're probably going to base for a little bit, and that's okay. So you went right to the 21 and the 50, and you haven't been here since. Now, I don't think you're going to stay here. I think you might come in a little bit and maybe shake people out tomorrow and then start rallying back up again. But I don't see a sense in doing anything here. I really don't. This is what we were waiting for. We're waiting for a pullback. You wanted the pullback to buy. Here it is. So that's what I would do. I would use that and I would buy here. So let's just keep going. Roku. So we were in at 347. We obviously got stopped out of this one. You sliced right through this. There's really no reason to be in this right now unless you're looking very long term. It did roll, but look where you're landing. You're landing right on this trend line, and you're landing right on this trend line, right? And the 21 day. So you have a lot of conversion points here. So you're going to have a lot of people looking here, but I don't have a signal yet at this level. Now, what one signal could be would be getting over the back of this 335.31. Getting over 330, that tells me that I'm probably going to head back to this 357 level, but I need that to happen, right? Right now, I just don't have anything telling me one way or another. I just have it hitting here and rolling. So we're going to have to wait and see what it brings. But I would not rush into this. When I update the newsletter tonight, we'll be out of the trade with a loss. So stop. Shop. Yeah, stop. I got this duplicated here. Let's get rid of that one. And you can see these lines. They're two separate lines. Now, you see how you have this line here? Okay. See how you're hitting this and you're rolling? I don't think you're going to roll back down to these levels. I really don't think that's what's going to happen, right? It's not going to be that simple, right? But you can't really buy this here until you get through this. You have to get through this, and you're not close to that yet, and you have to get there. So you're not there, so you have to watch that, okay? You really have to watch that. You can't chase this. If you're long this, and you're looking to get out, here's your out. Get out. I mean, it's staring at you, right? You didn't get this, and that's okay, but get out and let it figure out what it wants to do if you're looking to get out. If you're looking to stay in it or buy it, you do not have a signal here. As a matter of fact, you have the exact opposite of a signal because you have a morning star here, right, where you broke out, and then what happened to you, right? You broke the morning star today. So this is not where you want to be. So you do not want to be buying it. And if you're selling it and you're not staying super long term, you probably want to get out. So this had an amazing day. This is the kind of day that you want to see. And we're one day, or what's today, Thursday? So we're one day away from actually completing and closing here. If we close here, I will probably be all over this. As I've been stating for some time, that's what we're looking for. A close above 23.89. That's what led to this. So if I get a close on the weekly above that, I'm a believer. I will be a believer. Until I get that, I'm going to stay apprehensive. But this action today was just absolutely beautiful. Congratulations to everybody that stuck with this one and got in the trade. I've been avoiding this one since we got to here. I just keep waiting for it to, blow up. And guess what it's not doing? Blowing up. So at the end of the day, you are between here and right on that line. Look, see, you have this white line that's determining this trend. And look where you opened, right underneath of it on the low, and then just ran up all day. And so you didn't get the high. So what? Look where you closed. You closed right near here, which means that's okay. You can get it tomorrow, right? So I really don't see a major issue there. I don't really think that this 27 is anything. I don't think any of this is really anything to concern yourself with. What I'm saying is that if I'm looking at a level, the majority of people that are trading at an institution may be looking at the same level. Let me just say it that way. So if that's the case, they're the ones with the money, right? The hedge fund industry and institutional ownership have $3.8 trillion. Retail, when we all buy, Tiger, does not have $3.8 trillion. Just think about it that way. So Keep that in mind. But getting above this, if it just closes here, if we close flat tomorrow, I'll be all over it. And just an update while I'm doing this. This is exactly what I was talking about with these names. You know, everybody's getting out of them and panicking, right? And look at this. Okay, this is what's going on, right? This, even after hours, look at this. Okay, hits a fib level, what happens? Okay, there's a method to this, and there really is. There's an art to charting, but there's a science to it too. And you need to understand that, you know, when to use when. But you see how I'm getting at? Like, look, this was at 46. Everybody's panicking. You know, there's a fib level there. Now we're at 51 and through resistance. It gives us a clear shot to get back up to here, $58. Just FYI. I figured I'd throw that out there. UPST, let's do the trades. So we did a couple trades in this today. I did a trade right off the open. And I called it, and I just want to walk through it. So it was a very simple trade, and it's a very simple trade that anybody can do. And I'm going to show you it. So if you see this line right here, this 156 line, okay. Hold on, let's do it this way so I can find let me find the split real quick. Okay, and let's get rid of this because I don't need that. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. So let me throw this in real quick just so I can mark it. Bear with me. Okay, that's the third. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's where we're at. So let's go into here. I should just probably put the grid on. It'd probably be so much faster, right? So this is where you're at. And this is today. And we're just going to go off the open. Because the open one, the first bar was how I bought it. So this is where you opened, right on the right. This is the opening bar. You see how you gap down? Okay, that was it. That was your buy. Okay, so once I was here, I do this. I come down. I go back over the open. That was it. That was my buy. It was literally that simple. And then I ran up here and I'm like, okay, well, we gap filled, which you did gap fill, right? You can see that you gap filled right there, and you can see how it respected that line. And I just stayed with it. I didn't really care about this because I know that this is an extremely volatile stock, so I had to give it more of a lead. This thing has 20-point swings, so you have to understand that and give it a lead. And then what I did was I just waited for it to get back to that 162 level on some kind of push. And then I trimmed half of it and I'll leave the other half on and put the rest of it with a position. But that was the trade in a nutshell. It was literally that simple. And it's a trade that anybody can do once you know that little pattern and you just overlay volume with it. You want to make sure that, like, when you're doing the trade, just make sure there's volume there. Okay. Was there volume there? Yeah, there was a ton of volume. Okay. That's what you're looking for. So, I mean, it's that simple. I have two more, and then I want to go through these. I want to go through these two trades and just map them out for you. So Vizio, I just wanted to show somebody that they were asking me about this. I can see no reason why you're in this. Here's your H. Here's the flagpole. Here's your bear flag. You tried to rally. You couldn't do it. You're getting ready to take out the low. The only thing that could possibly save you now, and I'm really speaking as the only thing that could possibly save you, and someone did ask for coin. I'm going to do that real quick. I apologize. It's going to be out of order. So whoever's doing the timestamps is going to be not happy. But see how this is trending down? This is an H. Okay. It's an H pattern. Usually if you break the H pattern, the way to count this down is this to here. Okay. So if I break this down, whoops, let's get rid of that. So if I break this down, right? You see how it says 2 points? It's not the 2 points you have to worry about. It's the 11% really what you're looking at. You're looking at it on a percentage basis. Don't look at it on a points basis, because if you drop from 100 to 120 on a 20-point move, that's a lot different than dropping from 20 to 8, 100 to 80. The percentages change. Just do it on a percentage. It's easier and it's more accurate. So this is where you would drop to if you break this level, $18. So just be careful. But what it could do, and I don't see it doing this since it hasn't gone up one day in 2 weeks. What it could do is break this level and go up. You could have a failed H pattern, and they're pretty vicious. I know there's people that just do nothing but play this pattern and wait for it to break and then, get it. And a great example of this is, P-ton. Let's do ZIM, and then I want to do coin, and then I want to go through these two stocks. So here's the thing, we got in this and out of this. We made money. I really don't even need this up there anymore. So I've been saying this, until this prices, you can't touch this. I haven't gone through my notes. I've been absolutely swamped. Once this deal prices, I fully expect this to go back up. But until they price their secondary, this is not going up. So they need to price the secondary. We need to look at whether or not it was oversubscribed, look at who got the shares. There's a bunch of little nuances you need to look at to understand before you buy it. And I haven't even had the time to view that yet. I would say this. Okay. You're sitting right there. If you break this down, you're going down. Okay. And this is going to be vicious because you don't really break the 21 day, do you? You don't really close below the 21 day. As a matter of fact, how many times have you closed below the 21 day? Once. So if this comes down and this goes through, that's vicious. Now that may happen. This may price it they might price this at 35, 36. I don't know. And I don't know what the pricing talk is or anything. But if someone has that, please comment on it in the comments tonight and let's get to it and go through it. And then finally, let's just go through coin. And then I'm going to do these two. So coin, as I've been saying, you got to this level on coin. I'm just going to do this very fast. You see how you're not breaking this level and you're starting to roll? There is nothing to do here. Absolutely nothing. All you need to do is consider that you must, right, wait to 250 before you buy this. I'm still short this just as a disclosure, and I'm very comfortable that I'm going to get back to this 208. I'm probably going to break it. So, and I have, I'm short, but I also have puts out to June 18th. So I'm very comfortable with that. But let's get into these two stocks because I want to go through something, and I just want to show you a pattern. Okay. And the first one I'm going to do is one that you guys already know that I'm interested in. So I put this in the newsletter yesterday, last night. The action in it was sick. For those that followed me before and have been following me for a while, I'm going to get rid of this volume profile and then we'll come back to it. Last time when we broke this trend line and we broke out, we wound up recouping 140%. Some people actually did better when I went through it. I mean, it was just a monster move. We were just very fortunate to capitalize on it. But what I want to do is go through what's happening here because this is kind of important because I'm not a huge proponent of this stock, as people know. But this is setting up and the price is price. So let's get rid of this. Okay. And just for clarity's sake, so we can look at this, I'm going to get rid of all these horizontal lines, but you can see how you broke the 1957 one, right? So let's just get rid of, we can leave those. We'll leave those there. They're there. And you can see how you're above the 200 day and the 21 day and you're above the 50 day, right? And how you're sitting right on this. It's actually up after hours, which is not overly surprising. You're up a little bit, I think $20. Yeah. So, all right. For some reason, that's not showing up, but okay. Now let's do this. Get rid of that. And let's just do this volume. So we're going to include this. Okay. So you can see all this volume here and look where this volume was right here. Okay. And now look where you are, right? Once you get above this line right here, okay, and you get above this $24, this has the potential to push like AMC. This is setting up for another move. That's why it's in there. I really couldn't get into it too much, but you see here where you're at, right? Right here, I guess the best way to do is look at this purple line, but you can see that purple line at 1892. You're through that and you're pushing up. Now you have some up here at this $24 range, right? You can see that line, right? And what you want to do is just watch that level because if you get through that, this can really, really explode. So this is worth paying attention to. And I'm going to recommend that you seriously consider it and put it on your radar. This just has massive, massive potential, especially being above all this. So that's the first one that I wanted to go through. And just based upon, the volume profile in and of itself. So this is the second one that I wanted to go through, and I'm not going to put it in the newsletter. It is speculative. It's from our short list from before. People will recognize the name, but this is setting up just the same. You can see where the majority of stock is, right? The majority of stock is at this key level. Now, I can't really compare it to AMC's now because the volume profiles have changed drastically on AMC. But what you're getting at here is, you see this line, the 16.5. You get above 16.5. There is nothing up here. There is nothing up there compared to what's down here. Nothing. And this is setting up for a very large move as well. So I'm not overly concerned about today's action. Frankly, to me, even a long-legged doji, I've been going down. And a long-legged doji is a sign of indecision, and a pattern may be changing. That's what a long-legged doji tells you, right? So this being a long-legged doji, and I've been going down, getting hammered for months, might be telling me the exact opposite of what people are looking at saying. It could be saying, hey, we're going higher. The 21's curling, the 50's curling, and the 200's right here. So I would recommend putting this on your radar. That did get hit here and that then stopped, but I still think this has a lot of potential. I will throw a caveat out there so people are aware. I do have a starter position in this, and I'm looking to add to it. So that's pretty much it. I hope this was helpful. Please comment. Please like the video and share it, because I'm trying to get in front of as many people to show them what you need to do to be successful at investing and trading. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening.